YouTube says it has had enough of vaccine misinformation on its site.
And false stories from phony sites to run circles around major news outlets.
Many people don't know the difference between something real and something created to deceive them.
Open your eyes.
If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
Well, Elon Musk is proposing to launch a solar-powered AI satellite network to control how much sunlight reaches Earth. The Tesla CEO believes the plan could help reverse global warming. In a post on his platform X, he stated the constellation would make tiny adjustments to regulate the planet's solar intake. Critics are questioning the risks of handling AI control over sunlight.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. Just to show you how inverted our world has become, and just to show you what a psychosis the conservative MAGA crowd is under. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, when people such as myself were talking about sun shielding and how these mad scientists, these psychopaths who didn't have authority to even discuss things like blocking out the sun, we're discussing blocking out the sun, and everybody was in an uproar. Everybody was talking about how Bill Gates should be thrown in prison for even mentioning it. And now, in the year 2025, all it took was a fake assassination attempt on Donald Trump for everybody to forget that he was proudly boasting that he was the father of the vaccine. All it took was Elon Musk, who has always been aligned with the Democratic Party, has even bragged in the past about how all the new faces of the MAGA party all at one point in time were Democrats, including Donald Trump. But all it took, as it always does, is a couple of psyops, a couple of lies. These guys just suddenly flip-flop their stance politically, and now everybody trusts in Elon. So all these conservatives at one point in time who were so against electric vehicles are now finding themselves purchasing Tesla electric vehicles, just what the government wants, right? Getting you in their controlled electric cars. What else? Well, of course, we had Elon Musk come out and pretend that he was giving free speech back on X, even though all they're doing is data mining on certain specific platforms because they know people of certain political ideologies will go on platform A versus platform B, which is exactly what they did on YouTube for all those years, was make sure that everybody who had conservative ideologies or was a Christian would go over to Rumble and everybody else would stay on YouTube. Same with platforms like X, which are now looked at as MAGA positive or MAGA prolific platforms where you can say whatever you want, but we all know that's actually not the truth. And as the saying goes from Albert Pike, whenever the people need a hero, we shall supply him. And that's what Elon Musk played the role of, right? He fought for free speech as he bragged and tweeted out. He even pretended that he was draining the government of all of this wasted money, how all your tax money was getting flushed down the toilet, and how you were funding Sesame Street in Iraq, all these psyops that they made up so that you would say, I like Elon Musk, I support Elon Musk. You never got your check in the mail that they promised. Remember, you're supposed to get $5,000 back in wasted tax money? Never got that. Because what they were really doing, while they were telling you they're tearing down the government waste, was tearing down the government infrastructure so they could bring in AI governance. And now what's Elon Musk doing? Well, Elon Musk is talking about blocking the sun. He wants to block the sun now. Now, if Bill Gates came out and said this, these people would say we should arrest him immediately, just like they did years ago. Joe Biden was coming out and talking about it when he was in office, talking about how the Biden administration wanted to block out the sun. But now that Elon Musk is doing it, you don't hear a peep from any of these people. And they don't think that they're under a spell. They think that it's, hey, perfectly normal. Look, he's a smart guy. He's trying to figure things out. We're not going to hold him accountable for saying things like blocking out the sun while the guy's literally building out Skynet right in front of our faces. So Elon Musk recently took to X to explain his master plan for delivering humanity from the jaws of climate doom. See, what you got to remember is that when these people all mutually agree on things like they did when the vaccine came out, Donald Trump was on board, Elon Musk was on board, right? The Democrats were on board. They just took a different approach. The conservatives told you, we're not going to make you lose your job over not getting a vaccine. Like the Democrats are saying everybody should be fired who doesn't have one. But we're telling you it's the right thing to do. You should do it. We have ours, right? Well, what else do they all push? Well, they all push the climate laws. They all pretend to be completely oblivious to geoengineering and blocking the sun that we see already on a day in, day out basis. Of course, they never admit to weather modification or weather control. They play dumb like guys like Tucker Carlson constantly do. I don't know. I never noticed the chemtrails in the sky, they say. But eventually, this is all about bringing in these climate laws. These are the laws that are going to enslave all of us under their climate carbon tax, which again is about more than just bleeding money out of the civilians of the earth. People hear carbon tax and they're like, oh, they're just going to tax us more. They're going to tax us more on this. It's going to be about behavioral control. The carbon tax is to control what you can and cannot buy. You'll have restrictions on your purchases. You'll have restrictions on your movement. That's what the carbon climate laws are all about. So Elon Musk said a large solar-powered AI satellite constellation would be able to prevent global warming by making tiny adjustments in how much solar energy reached the Earth. The SpaceX CEO currently maintains a vast constellation of nearly 9,000 Starlink satellites in orbit, which aren't currently blocking out the sun, but are doing a tremendous job of blocking astronomers from getting clear observations of the farthest reaches of the cosmos. Asked by a fan about how these satellites could possibly carry out the precise adjustments to the amount of solar energy hitting our planet without destabilizing the climate, not to mention the potential conflicts that would unfold for control over such a powerful global mechanism, Musk responded, yes, it would only take tiny adjustments to prevent global warming or global cooling for that matter. Any of these people who openly discuss global warming or global cooling and climate change like it's real, everybody should automatically know that they're in on it because that's the ruse that they're pulling. The climate ruse, telling everybody out there that all these ridiculous hurricanes and tornadoes and these weather phenomena that we're seeing are because of climate change. And they all seem to agree on it. Gates agrees, Musk agrees. Then they come out, as I'll show you later on in the video, and they tell you about what we need to do as human beings, how we need to curb our carbon emissions, right? How we need to change our lives. And again, nobody's given any of these psychopaths authority. Who has given them authority to do these things up in quote-unquote orbit? We know they use satellite balloons, among other things, but who's given them the authority? Well, the government has, of course, because these are all DARPA operatives. These are not guys who start companies. You can't start up a company and then suddenly do these things out in outer space just because you have money. This is DARPA. These people are all operatives of the deep state, pretending to be smart company men. So obviously we know about geoengineering, which they don't talk about, which they obviously already shield the sun. They already manipulate the weather. But let's just look real quick and keep in mind, 4 years ago when this happened, the White House cautiously opens the door to study blocking the sun's rays to slow global warming. Biden said it, everybody went nuts. Who else? Bezos, another guy I've exposed as being a DARPA operative. His grandfather, one of the founding fathers of DARPA. Amazon quietly researching how to block out the sun. Of course, we all know about Bill Gates aiming to spray dust into the atmosphere to block the sun. And I'm not saying that they're not already doing it. We already know that they're using geoengineering and sun shielding. We know that the proper nutrients are not being given to us from the sun. We know that a lot of people struggle to farm or garden like they used to because they're blocking the sun. And that's really what it's all about. But you may remember, I covered this in the past. It just shows you how long, how predetermined this has been for them to use their technology to sun shield so that they can control the crops, of course, eventually tell you that nobody can garden anymore, but don't worry, we can have all stuff that they create in a petri dish so we can have no real nutrients and, they can grow it underground because there'll be no sun on the Earth's surface. But this goes back to The Simpsons, like most of these psychopathic ideas do. We see predictive programming in it over and over and over again. I mean, we're talking about Simpsons from decades ago, talking about a plot with Mr. Burns to block the sun. And now you're seeing all these big tech guys talking about doing the exact same thing.
Well, sir, you've certainly vanquished all your enemies, the elementary school, the local tavern, the old age home. You must be very proud.
No, not while my greatest nemesis still provides our customers with free light, heat, and energy. I call this enemy the sun. Since the beginning of time, man has yearned to destroy the sun. I will do the next best thing. Block it out.
Good God.
Imagine it, Smithers. electrical lights and heaters running all day long.
But, sir, every plant and tree will die. Owls will deafen us with incessant hooting. The town sundial will be useless. I don't want any part of this project. It's unconscionably fiendish.
I will not suffer your insubordination. There has been a shocking decline in the quality and quantity of your toadying, Whalen, and you will fall into line. Now!
No. No, Monty, I won't. Not until you step back from the brink of insanity.
I'll do no such thing. One last question. Have you ever seen the sun set at 3 p.m.?
Aye, once, when I was sailing round the Arctic.
Shut up, you. Take one last look at the sun, Springfield.
And again, this would be, this is the type of thing that would, should unite people. But now that Elon Musk is talking about it, none of the conservatives are going crazy about it. Just like it shows you what a psychosis they're in. Because when Bill Gates was talking about it, all people like me were saying, hey, these guys are talking about blocking the sun. Who cares what your political beliefs are? They're talking about blocking the sun, which belongs to humanity. I mean, this is a life force. We need the sun. And Democrats didn't say a peep about it, right? Because they liked Bill Gates and they liked some of the guys who were talking about it, like Jeff Bezos. And now Musk is saying, and the conservatives are just completely quiet about it. And none of these people realize that by doing it, it would have astronomical effects on all of our lives, like, potentially killing us off because we need sunlight to survive. But really, this, again, comes down to more than just geoengineering and weather modification. This comes down to what? Well, this comes down to growing food because they want control over everything. And he who obviously controls the food supply chain, controls the people, because people at some point in time when they're dying of starvation will have to turn to the government for food. And they'll say, I'll be a good little boy. I'll get my digital ID. I'll listen to what you tell me. Please feed me. Please feed me. I can't farm anymore because I was too busy playing with my technology and not being a real man to fight back against these psychotic individuals, who was only a small group of them, who are doing things like this with their technology while keeping us divided over skin color, over gender, over ridiculous things that we constantly fight about on a day in, day out basis because we're so consumed with media, and the media poisons our minds, right? And we're nonstop media consumption these days. So they want to block the sun. They want to be able to grow the food that they feed us, pretty much Soylent Green, let's be real. Right? We know that they're building out these massive they already have them, okay, where they're growing food underground. They're growing food underground. They're growing food in petri dishes. This is food that is not going to help humanity survive, but it's going to lower your carbon emissions. So in other words, it's more important to starve the human race, block out the sun, because the earth is supposedly warming or cooling, depending on what week they decide to lie to you, what narrative they want to give you, if it's global warming or global cooling, because they constantly flip it. And because of that happening, we need to block the sun and take a risk of actually dying of starvation and not having enough food to survive. But don't worry, they'll grow it underground, right? And they won't use it against you. They won't say, hey, look, you can't grow food on your own. We have food, but these are the things that you're going to have to do. Like, number one, we're going to have full access to coming in and out of your home as we please, full access to your son and your daughter and your wife and everything else that we want. And of course, everything that you think. Because if you say anything online that questions the government, you don't get food anymore. So when the government tasers in the balls, you're supposed to smile. When the government comes and steals your wife, you're supposed to smile and say, sure, take my kids too. That's what this all leads towards. And if you look around at the things that, that Elon Musk and Tesla and Starlink are doing, and all these guys like Bill Gates, they all have their hands in the same exact things, right? The climate change, they're involved in the food. They're involved in the food chain. We know how much land Bill Gates and these guys own. How about nobody talking about Starlink and how they're connecting to all of these John Deere tractors, trying to do all this autonomous farming? Is anyone out there concerned? They're like, oh, that's good because now we don't need any of those illegals on the farms doing the farm picking. We could have, autonomous robots doing this type of stuff. You're giving full control over all farming to these satellites that they're connecting to, this Skynet. In other words, they're farming without human beings. That's what Starlink is working on. As if, we don't need farmers anymore. We don't need people anymore. We'll do it all. And you don't think they're going to use it against you. When all of a sudden that you can't buy a tractor unless the tractor hooks up to Wi-Fi. And nobody goes, well, what in the world do you need your tractor hooked up to Wi-Fi for? Oh, do you need to be entertained while you're out there in the cornfield? Do they need to be able to listen to their favorite podcasts without there in the cornfield? Give me a break. They're connecting all this stuff up to their network because they're going to have full control over all of these things, which means full control of the food supply chain, which is why John Deere signed a contract with Starlink, and nobody says boo because nobody can figure out what that even means. They're just like, oh yeah, I guess the guys in the tractor want to be able to listen to their favorite shows and watch their favorite movies. No, it's not just about replacing humans. It's about giving them full control. And now all the John Deere machines, of course, are equipped with Starlink. Anything that's been made in the last couple of years equipped with Starlink, which means they could turn it on and shut it off. And this goes with all machines, right? I mean, this is right out of a horror movie. And what else do we know about Elon Musk, since we're talking about Elon Musk wanting to block the sun? Well, he's told us in the past the only action needed to solve climate change is a carbon tax. And again, the carbon tax isn't about how much money they're going to take out of your bank account or how much more it's going to cost to buy a steak. It's going to be controlling what you are and aren't allowed to buy, where you are and aren't allowed to go, how many times you can flush your toilet in a day. These are all things you're going to be taxed on. It's behavioral control, and that's what they're hell-bent on, having full control over every aspect of our lives. And it's all done through technology. Without technology, they can't use carbon laws because they can't do it without a digital ID where they could freeze your bank account and they could freeze your social media and they could do all these different things. Like, once these people, most of society's dumb enough to put all these smart devices in their home, like smart locks, which you have to be completely brain dead to put smart locks on your home and not think that some mysterious person actually has access over it. You think it's just up in the cloud somewhere. Yeah, sure. Right, until you're locked in your home, like that, guy who supposedly said racist things to an Amazon driver, and then suddenly Amazon shut off all his smart devices in his home, and he was trapped in his home, and couldn't use anything that was an Amazon smart device was shut off. Right, that's exactly the type of story they put out there to gauge, how you're responding to it. Nobody responded, nobody cared. Right? So what else does Elon Musk say? We should not, for example, impose draconian laws on farmers or make citizens uncomfortable by limiting air conditioner usage. Keep tax revenue constant, but shift it to tax what is probably bad, CO2. Just like alcohol and cigarettes are taxed more than fruits and vegetables. Oh, or just like just like breathing, right? Because that's the real carbon emission that they want to stop. And he continues. The reason we should do a carbon tax is because it's the right thing to do. It's Economics 101, elementary stuff. And then from there, where does it go? Well, it goes to universal basic income, another proponent of Elon Musk, right? I think there's a good chance we're all going to need universal basic income. And then, of course, when people start pushing back on that, he changes the words. He says, well, it's universal high income. And people go, oh, okay, so it's not just universal basic. It's universal high income. Okay, so I can still make a lot of money? Sure. Elon Musk goes, yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, we're just going to keep taking your jobs away. We're going to keep everything becoming autonomous. And when you get in your car, if we don't like what you say online, or we think that you're someone who might be a threat to us, we'll drive your car off the cliff. Because you're giving us full control over your car, over your home, the locks on your home, every aspect of your life, right? These people are as psychotic as it gets. When you hear them talking about blocking the sun, is there ever going to be something that unites people as, into actually just getting along and saying, let's take a look at these psychopaths and what they're talking about here? Maybe we need to do something. Maybe we should stop looking at each other just because this guy's gay and this guy's straight. Maybe we should just say who's giving them the authority to do these things and who's funding it, right? Well, our tax money's funding it, of course, funding our enslavement, funding the golden dome that Trump is building out, the surveillance state, the data centers that are being built out. We're all funding. We're funding our enslavement while they play make-believe and pretend the government shut down and get you all worked up over these people that they put into office who are not elected, like the mayor in New York. People believe in this stuff as if the people actually vote for them. Instead of people going, you know what? Why don't we actually count the ballots? We don't believe in the news. Everybody calls the news fake, but the news is the one that gives you the results of the election. How about it? We all go, okay, we want to watch each person who goes in, write down because their privacy. We can't do that because of their privacy, right? Oh, well, it comes to everything else. You don't care about our privacy. I could be talking to somebody in my home about something or out somewhere, and then you get 5,000 ads talking about trying to sell you the product. Right? Or YouTube videos popping up talking about some topic you talked about. Oh, but your privacy's not at stake. Oh, well, we can't show you every vote that every person makes because of their privacy. Oh, right, because the elections aren't real. And then they get everybody upset and angry. Oh, we got the mayor in New York. He's a socialist. And there's all the stuff they care about. Well, we got these guys who have trillions of dollars, which they didn't earn, talking about blocking the sun, talking about how we need to limit our carbon, how we need to also have hate speech laws in place to protect people and their feelings. Nobody says boo, right? So now it's Elon Musk talking about blocking the sun, and you don't hear anybody in the alt-right media because they love him, right? Are any of these, these shills like Candace Owens or Tim Pool, are they going to come out and say, wait a minute, this guy's now saying all the same crap that everybody out there was upset about that Bill Gates was talking about? Now they're saying it. Because all it takes is you present the character like Elon Musk. He suddenly says, I stand up for Christians. I'm a Christian now. Oh, is that all it takes for the Christian to believe these people? Russell Brand, I'm a Christian now. I have 33 tattooed on my arm. I was married to Katy Perry, who's one of the biggest witches in Hollywood. I was dating a Rothschild at one point in time. Yeah, I'm a Christian now because I'm in my underwear getting baptized in a lake. And that's all it takes for them to believe it. And they go, you don't know what's in his heart. Because they don't want to believe it. They don't want to believe they're getting duped by these characters. But they are. And you're seeing how much the whole shift is taken, it's taken over. We've shifted in the opposite direction. We have conservative people who are anti-electric vehicles. For all those years, we want big oil. We're not driving those electric vehicles. They're going to enslave us with those electric vehicles. They're going to shut them off as they will. Oh, but now that Elon Musk, he won't shut them off because he gave us Twitter back. I mean, you believe that, you're going to believe the Easter Bunny's going to walk through your door tonight, holding hands with the Tooth Fairy, and they're going to come into your bedroom, and then all of a sudden, $100 bills are going to fly out of their butts. I mean, what won't these people believe? All it takes is these characters to shift teams, to say a little couple things that tickle their ears, and then they can go on, they can talk about all this psychotic stuff like blocking the sun, and none of them say boo about it. So Elon Musk is now talking about blocking the sun. He also wants control over all of your farm equipment to make it all autonomous. The conservatives are on board, of course, because, we don't need immigrants. We don't need them. Everything autonomous is better. And you see how the shift to the technocracy has really taken over the MAGA conservatives who are on board with the technocrat that they're building out, right? Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, all these guys, Sam Altman, all of a sudden conservative, right? Mark Zuckerberg, I like Trump all of a sudden, right? And then these people don't say boo. Nobody questions Zuckerberg anymore. Used to get slammed every day, Zuckerberg, by the MAGA media. Nothing anymore. Oh, well, Zuckerberg likes Trump. Oh, Bezos likes Trump now. Oh, okay. And these are the same DARPA clowns that are building out our enslavement grid. Wonderful. And now they want to block the sun, and nobody says boo either. Great. What's next? Sound the trumpets, please. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families, as always.